Hey, this is Gary from 3Bug Media, and today we're going to talk about some lead magnet ideas for your business. But first off, let's just review, what is a lead magnet? Well, basically a lead magnet is something that you give to a prospective customer or visitor to your website that has value to them in exchange for information, which when it comes to online marketing traditionally is an email address. So basically you're giving something away to them that they want and has value to them in exchange for information, so you can reach out to them later on and possibly sell them something later on down the line. So traditionally lead magnets are free. It's something that you give away to them. Okay, so we're going to talk about some lead magnet ideas, and starting from the most effective and easiest to more difficult. Now, in the past, when online marketing lead magnets traditionally were ebooks or tips or guides and things like that. For the most part, general things like tips and guides tend not to work so much. Even ebooks are they still work marginally, but for the most part, people don't have time to download and read, a 30 or 40 page ebook. And that's pretty good for you, because who wants to sit down and write, a 30, 40 page ebook, right? There's lots of simpler and more effective things we can do today when it comes to creating lead magnets. So we're going to start with the first one here, checklists. Checklists have been working great for us, been working great for clients, and they're super easy to make. Now, when I talk about checklists, just think of like a one-page guide, one-page PDF that you give away, but something tangible for the customer where they can print it off and they can write on it. So maybe you're a mortgage broker and you create a checklist that someone who's looking to buy a house for the first time, they can print it off, and it goes over all the things that they need to prepare for before they apply for a mortgage. So maybe work on credit score, get their financials in order. So you give them a nice little handy checklist that they can print off and use. Same thing with real estate agent. Maybe you're getting ready to sell your home and you create a one-page checklist where the homeowner can print it up and they can go through this guide. Maybe you give a whole bunch of things they need to go through before they prepare their house, to put on the market or something like that. So depending on the industry, there's a whole bunch of ideas you can do. They're super easy to make. You can literally write it down on a piece of paper, send it off to a designer along with your logo, and have it back in a couple days, and the whole thing will probably take you like 20 minutes, 30 minutes to do. Just make sure, the most important thing is make sure it's something that has value to that person, to the potential customer or visitor to your website, and it solves a problem that they have. And that's very important, because if you can solve a problem for them, it makes it so much more valuable to them, and they're much more willing to give you their information in exchange for that. Kind of along the lines, the next thing we're going to talk about are templates. Templates are similar to checklists, so maybe it's something they can print off and write on. Maybe it's, it's a Q&A, things like that. Maybe say you're a financial planner and it says, you might have something like, what's the financial health for your family? Take this, print off this template and fill it out, and then maybe ask them a series of questions and they fill it out, and based on what they fill out, maybe they get a score or something, you put a little scoring system on there. If they have a certain score, you can say you're in good financial health or you need help, and we're here to help you. Something like that. So similar to checklists, templates, 1 or 2 pages, they're simple to make. As long as it can solve a problem for that person, you're much more likely to get conversions. And what you'll find is, if you try to do something generic, like here's tips about cleaning your house, things like that, your conversions are going to be pretty low. And the type of customers that you're going to get, potential leads, are going to be of poor quality, just because it's so generic in nature. So think about who you want to attract as a customer for your business, and think about what you can give them that has a lot of value for them and won't take you 6 months to create. And these two fit that bill. Checklists and templates are really popular right now, and they work really well. And the great thing about it is they're super simple to create, much easier than ebooks and white papers and stuff like that, which we're going to get to in a minute. The next thing that works really well are email courses. Now, instead of maybe you have a ebook or some kind of guide that you've created in the past, why not break that out into an email course things like that. People don't have time to sit down and spend an hour or two reading through an ebook. And a lot of people actually love the idea of ebooks, things like that, but they actually find it really difficult to read on a computer. And a lot of people still haven't been able to transition to, tablet reading and online reading and things like that. So think about breaking that information up into an email course. Something that we do on 3Bug Media is we create these mini email courses. Currently the one on our site is on local SEO, and it's basically a 9 or 10 part email course people sign up for, and every day they'll get one idea about local SEO, one topic that we talk about. It takes them 2 minutes to read and they're done. The next day they'll get another one in their inbox until the email course is over. The great thing about that is, number one, you're training them to open up your emails. So when you eventually start to email them later on down the line, they're used to opening up your emails, and you also engage them for a longer period of time. A lot of times, for the most part, I don't know the exact statistic, but for the most part, when people download ebooks, I think it's something like 80 or 90% of the people that download it will never read it. Where the email course, you can kind of take them in bite-sized chunks and kind of work on them as time goes by. So email courses are very popular. Similar to email courses are video courses. Video courses, kind of like what I'm doing right now. Create a little video course. Maybe you do a 5 or a 3, 4, or 5 segment video course where you just spend 5 minutes and talk about one concept you package together and create a little free video course. Somebody signs up for your course, you redirect them to you can either redirect them to a special page on your site that has, the videos, or you can email them the links, one a day or one every couple days, things like that, until they finish the whole course. Pretty easy to make, especially if you're, somewhat comfortable being in front of a camera. Super effective, kind of like email courses, video courses work very well. They're not very hard to create. The biggest impediment to that is, being camera shy. Next we have ebooks. Ebooks, like I said, are probably traditionally the most popular form of lead magnet, though their effectiveness, like I talked about already, is kind of waning. It takes a long, and it's good because it takes a long time to create an ebook, a lot of writing, and people that download it, the majority of people will never read it. So what was the point on it? Yes, you did get their email address, but chances are if they didn't read the ebook, they didn't see the value, and they're not going to be that engaged to begin with. The great thing about the ebooks, if you do have an ebook, you can repurpose it and figure out how you can break it up, and you might be able to make a couple lead magnets out of it, which is really cool. So ebooks are not as effective, but if you have them, or you're really, writing is your kind of main thing and you're not into creating these things, then ebooks are the way to go. What I would probably suggest is don't go for length. People don't really care for the length of the email. Just make sure it's really useful. Make it, visually appealing, and make it printer friendly for people. Same thing, white papers. White papers can be difficult. They can be easy to make. Sometimes a white paper can be 1-2 pages. Sometimes they can be a lot longer. Traditionally, white papers are for B2B businesses. So if you're a B2B business, or you're some kind of professional like financial services or something like that, white papers may be the way to go, because you can demonstrate a problem a potential customer of yours had, or a customer you had, and how you solve that problem, and kind of show through that white paper of how you can solve these problems for a potential customer. So a little bit easier to do than an ebook, but white papers, like I said, tend to be more on professional services or B2B products. So if we look at this list here, checklist, easy to make, cheap, quick. Same thing with templates. Email courses and video courses, a little more difficult, a little more involved, but they're still not too hard to do. Get into ebooks, probably the most difficult here, especially if you want to create a really good high value one. Can take a long time to create. Same thing with white papers on there. The good news is these ones, the top ones here, are pretty simple to do, and they're pretty effective. So I'll see today people are gravitating towards that have more utility to them, more specific, and they solve a problem, where a lot of times with ebooks it's more general information for people. So how do I get these done? You're probably thinking, well, I don't have a designer, I don't have the resources to do it. Well, there's a couple quick ways to do it. And if you don't have, if you have somebody local that's a graphic designer or something like that, that's great. But if not, there's a couple sites you can go to. Upwork is the biggest freelance site on the internet in the world. So you can go to Upwork, sign up for a free account, and you can go on there and find freelancers for writing, graphic design, development, things like that. Everything's review driven, so just spend your time, pick through it, and look at a lot of reviews, and you'll get a good idea of, how their communication is, what their, how their language is, and what's their response time, quality of their work, things like that. And it's actually not hard to do. Really, you just have to take the time to, to set up your account and really know what you're looking for on there. But you can find graphic designers from all over the world. If you prefer to work, in your home country, whether that's the United States, Canada, something like that, you can filter it down to only look for designers in your country. And, you can get an idea of what your costs are going to be. But the nice thing with these, they're pretty simple to make, so it shouldn't cost you very much. If that's a little bit too much work for you, you can get even simpler, and you can go to a site, you can go to Fiverr.com, and basically for 5, 10, 15 bucks, you can get pretty much anything done, especially when we're talking about graphics here. So, you can write out your email course. Well, email course you probably don't need anything, but say you're gonna do a checklist or a template, you literally can write it out on a piece of paper what you want it to look like, send it to, somebody on Fiverr, pay them 5 or 10 bucks or something like that, give them your logo, just give them a little outline of what you want it to look like, and they can turn around and create a nice PDF or a nice graphic for you that you can turn around and use as a lead magnet. You can probably do the whole thing in a couple days. So I hope these gave you a couple good ideas of what a lead magnet is and some good ideas on creating effective lead magnets, and hopefully you'll see now that they don't have to be complicated, they don't have to be hard, they just need to be useful for your potential customer or person visiting your website. So if you have any questions, you can go to 3bugmedia.com, and thank you so much. Have a good day.